Good afternoon. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. Let's scrap Remembrance Day. Just scrap it completely, because we didn't build a land fit for heroes. It's turned into a land fit for zeros. And as this old veteran says, Britain's oldest poppy seller, 100 years old, he says Britain's worse than what we fought for. That's a damning indictment of modern Britain. Do you agree? Let's get talking. Every November we say we will remember them. Twitter's been full of it today, and the sentiment is right. But has it now just become, a performance? And as the veterans get older, and so soon there'll be no one from the First World War or indeed the Second World War, what's the point of continuing with it? Would a better way of remembering these heroes, and I do believe they're heroes, would it be better to actually create a Britain they would be proud of? Because this 100-year-old D-Day hero, Alex, who I'm going to talk about more in a minute, Alec, he says Britain is worse now than when he fought for it on the beaches of D-Day, on Normandy. Worse than his comrades. He says the heroes are the ones who died in the conflict, not him. They and we were all promised a land fit for heroes, but it's turned out to be a land only for zeros. Our borders are wide open. Look what's happening with the flip-flop warriors at Dover. 2,000 have got into the country since Thursday. 2,000, and still they come. How come we could keep Hitler out, but we can't keep out these guys in rubber dinghies? What does that say about our society? And our society is so fragmented, so divided. How do we change that? So borders wide open, criminals roaming free, many of them sex offenders, let out by accident by idiots like Lammy. And then our top politician, our Prime Minister, the first sign of any trouble, woof, he's fly away. Was it Pilot? Fly away. He's out of the country. He's had 40 foreign trips this year already. And let me tell you, there's 6 more planned before Christmas. Yes, it's only 8 weeks away. And he's off to South Africa to the G20 next week. So he's just got back from hobnobbing it in Brazil in the Amazon rainforest and destroying part of the forest to have his conference. And now he's going to go to South Africa. Here, you're never here, and we've got problems here. So why do we bother with Remembrance Day? What exactly are we remembering? Has it just become a diversion? Are there not present problems we need to deal with? And have we all of us, let our heroes down? Join me now. No spin, no censorship, just the truth about our heroes. And I'm asking a very serious question. Have they been betrayed? Let's have your views in the comments, please. Feel free to restream this if you fancy, but this is today's discussion. There's that man there. Look at him. What a hero. 100 years old. He's now blind. He's still selling poppies. What a fella. What a hero. But have we let him and all the rest of them down? So we stand, as I say, and we probably did it this morning. I was watching it on the TV. I remember when I was a kid, we used to go to St. Nicholas Church and then we'd all march through town as a cub. But there were people then around us who had actually served, many of them in the First World War, but definitely in the Second World War. We say we will remember them. But what are we remembering them for? And how much have we let them down? Because if you listen to the 100-year-old D-Day hero in my picture behind me, his name's Alec Penstone. He was on GMTV with that traitor Adil Ray earlier in the week. You know, the one who thinks it's okay to say he's into Sharia law and live in Britain. Yeah, and he's on telly. Idiot. But Alec Penstone, he says what we've become, what Britain has become, is worse than what he was fighting against. And you know what? I can't really argue with him. We were supposed to build this land fit for heroes, a democracy. But look around, our borders are wide open. Look at Dover. There's thugs on the streets. There's people spreading division. Look what happened in Birmingham the other day at the Aston Villa game. Then you got the BBC lying through its teeth, actually making up lies about President Trump, the leader of the free world, our ally in the Second World War. And they think they're going to get away with it by apologizing tomorrow and saying, we apologize for the mistake. It's not a mistake, you pathetic clowns. It was deliberate. It was part of your deliberate policy, which is anti-Trump. I mean, is it a mistake that every time that woman who's the Washington White House correspondent, Sarah Smith, every time she says the word Trump, it's as if she's got shit in her mouth? I'm not making up. The bias is off the scale. And they can't see it. And they're now saying it's taken them 4 days or 5 days to actually say, oh, it was a mistake. It's not a mistake. Likewise, look at the way they're treating that newsreader for daring to correct the woke prompt, the auto cue, which said they were talking to pregnant people. She paused. She did roll her eyes and rightly so, and said, women, men, get used to it, guys. You cannot be a mum. You're not a woman. You're a man. You might have a frock on, but you've still got a cock. And it's not just me saying this. It's the Supreme Court. And have we got a situation where the BBC is superior? Well, they are superior, but are they superior to the highest court in our land? Well, the answer's no. So we've got, imagine in the Second World War, it'd be something like 1,000 British troops landed on the beaches of France today, uninvited, and declared war on Germany, or something like that, wouldn't it? Innocent Germans. It's just so wrong. Then we've got Starmer, always away. Lammy, asleep at the wheel. That man is just a disgrace. And he ran away from Parliament himself. He didn't go back and correct the record because, just like Starmer, he knew Parliament was going into recess for a week. They're not sitting this week. So he's hoping the heat will die away. Then we've got the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Was that a mistake? When she basically changed her CV and more recently has fiddled not having the right licenses. Was it a mistake? No, it was deliberate. Just like Angela Rayner. Was it a mistake? She didn't pay the right stamp duty? No, it was deliberate. So, I say this isn't the Britain our heroes died for. It's a country, a nation betrayed by the whole political class, not just Labour. So I'm asking the question nobody else seems dare to. Has Remembrance Day lost its meaning? If it's based on all these falsehoods, have our heroes been betrayed? I'm Jon Gaunt. This is Live at 5, and I want to hear from you because I don't know about you. I have had enough. Are you with me or against me? Lots of comments going in there. Keep smashing the like button if you could. And I just want to now read out a few other quotes from this hero because I think he says some really interesting things. I don't know what the hell we fought for and why we lost so many wonderful men. The country has gone to rack and ruin, said Alec. You can't argue with that, can we? How about this for a line? Are you listening, Keir Starmer? There are too many people with their fingers in the till. Faith in our country, i.e. being a patriot, was the best thing when I was young. But nowadays, there's just too many people that just want their own little corner. Are you listening, you radical Muslims of Birmingham? So they just want their own little corner, he says, and bugger everybody else. He's right. Did you know there was a study out by King's College London, I think last week, where it said 8 in 10 Brits feel the nation is divided. I'm only surprised it's only 8 out of 10. Britain is completely divided. We've got a disunited kingdom, and somebody's got to get a grip of it. And this is the final quote from this 100-year-old blind veteran. Was in the Navy, was at D-Day, etc., etc. A real hero, probably like your granddad, your great-granddad, a normal bloke, right? They asked him for his views on Winston Churchill and how he thinks, today's politicians match up to him. And Alec said, I admired Winston Churchill. He was a leader and he made sure what needed to be done was done. Then he says, are you listening, Keir Starmer? There is no comparison whatsoever to the modern leaders in this world today. It's every man for himself. I've got no feelings for any of them. This was on Good Morning Britain. He said this in the week. Adil Ray was one of the people interviewing him. That's another bloke who's an absolute traitor. An absolute traitor. He thinks Sharia law's okay. Why don't you? Okay, Adil, you're a funny writer, but no. I used to know him when he worked in Birmingham, but he's gone too far with that. Do you agree? And then we got Lammy. How are we going to cope with Lammy? What do you do with a problem called David Lammy? What are we going to do with him? I want apologies from him as well. Right, that's me done then. I'm coming to you now and your comments. Thank you very much for pressing the like button. 19, that's good. If you're enjoying what I'm doing, press it. If you really like what I'm doing, make sure you tell all your friends about it. Don't forget, I'm always here Monday to Thursday at 6:30. I often do an extra show on Sunday, and that's what this is. So make the most of it. Join in. Let's have your views. Have we betrayed veterans like Alec behind me there? And look at Starmer. No comparison. And then, of course, 2,000 illegal flip-flop warriors, men of fighting age, have got into the country again this weekend. Britain isn't only broken, Britain is completely and utterly knackered. If you'd like to help me out by giving me a small donation to keep these things going, please do so. All you do is press the little $sign here on the YouTube channel and donate anything you can, or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt and donate as much as you fancy. I think that starts at £5, and then you'll get your name on the wall of great credit. So thank you, everyone. Right, let's get going. Who have we got first today? Oh, Bruno, U1R60. I was born in 1936 and lived through it all, and I feel speechless with indignation at the liberal wokes. Thank you, Bruno. It isn't. We've all let you down. And we've let you down because we haven't stood up for this nonsense. We've allowed the woke. We've allowed I always call them the feral, the feckless, the freeloaders, and the freaks, and the foreigners, it's got to be said, to dictate our policy. This is how we got to a stage where you wait 14 or 15 hours to get a hospital bed or to even see the doctor in triage. This can't go on. And I'm not blaming all the immigrants. It's not immigration that's caused this. Uncontrolled mass immigration like we're getting at Dover, 2,000 people since Thursday. How is that sustainable? Answer, it isn't. But well-managed immigration's made the country better. So it's not about the colour of your skin. It's about lick spittles like Starmer, who doesn't stand up for it, and Boris Johnson before him, and Rishi Sunak. What is wrong with them? Why do they hate our country? And did you see the lineup of the prime ministers, the ex-prime ministers today at the cenotaph? They all made me sick. I tell you one thing I was a bit concerned about. Did you see King Charles? He was either very emotionally upset or he was in pain. Did you see him when he was standing there? He had tears in his eyes. Maybe we're not being told the whole story there either. God help us if anything happens to him, because William, what is he turning in? The king of the wokers, isn't he? I'll take views on that as well. Maggie Young is here. She says, I went to the Woolston Village this morning for their memorial service. That's a nice idea, because sometimes the smaller places, the events are better, aren't they? I went to a beautiful service, she says. They said prayers and said aloud every name that had perished in our wars. It felt like my beautiful England again. That's a nice thing to say. That's really nice, Maggie. I tell you, that's emotional. I can't take how these heroes have been let down. It's so, so sad. Thinking just like me, Maggie. I like your avatar, by the way. Superb picture. James Everton says, you are so right on Facebook. Thank you very much indeed. Tommy Mason says, oh, excuse me, I've still got this cough. It's almost gone, but I'm still there a bit. Gaunty for PM. Keep up the good work. Yeah, well, I don't think I could do a worse job than the idiots we have got in power. And did you see Starmer? He must have flown back yesterday afternoon because he was at the the thing where they drop all the poppies at the Albert Hall last night, wasn't he? Rod Stewart was there and everything, but he was there. Another freebie he would be, wouldn't he, Starmer? And he's here today. At least he looked a bit neater today. I was worried that he might turn up in a donkey jacket like Michael Foot did all those years ago. Do you remember? But also, the thing today, which I found amazing, I found out he's going away again. I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday. He's off to South Africa, Johannesburg. Nice at this time of year. Yeah, he's going because it's the G20 summit. Why couldn't they get the G20 summit and the COP30, copper load of freebies, whatever it was called, conference to be at the same time? How many more air miles is he going to do? He's destroying our planet. He's going to make us all live in the ice age or we're going to burn to death. Well, that's the bullshit they come out with, isn't it? But it's okay for him to travel. But not us. And then Rachel Thieves is going to charge you £3 a mile in your electric car. Congratulations. Jake Moulton Brown, 8956, says, I wouldn't scrap it. How long before they use a ban as an excuse to ban something else? Out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on bonfire night? I think Edenbridge won the best figure to burn. Were they the ones who had Starmer? Yeah, I thought it was good. I've big celebrations like that. I'm quite happy with Jake and organised displays. I cannot see the point now. You know, when we were kids, hot dog, jacket potato, couple of sparklers, like I said the other week, and a Catherine wheel on the garden shed that never span. And the old man getting more and more frustrated because it was pissing it down, right? It's not the same. Global warming means it was so hot on bonfire night, but they were all going off again on Saturday. And if it's a main event, I don't mind. But now what people do is they buy those massive Chinese boxes and they use them in the back garden. It's just ridiculous. It's just beyond the point of stupidity, isn't it? But then we've got generations of stupid people living in the country. We've given the country over to the feral, the feckless, the freeloaders, the foreigners, and the woke. It's just mad. We need a bit of spine, a bit of discipline, a bit of community spirit. Do you not think? But how can we engender that when they're letting in 2,000 people since Thursday? 2,000 people. There was a video today in one of the papers or on the internet of them all going in a minibus to get checkups at the hospital. Now, I wouldn't leave them to die on the steps of the hospital, but I'm sorry. There is a limit to how much you can push people's sensibilities. And of course, what Starmer does, if you don't like it, if you object to that, you're a racist, you're a far right thug. What? Because you can't get your granny into a hospital bed because there's too many people in the country. Oh, and then they come out with the thing, if it wasn't for the immigrants, there wouldn't be a National Health Service. Well, largely true. But most of the people who work in the National Health Service who are, as you want to call them, because you're a racist lefty, if they are immigrants or of immigrant stock, they came in the correct manner, well managed and organised. They were recruited in the Philippines or whatever. Before that, the West Indies. Before that, Ireland. You can't push them in your racist, liberal, woke way with the people who are turning up at Dover, who we don't even know who they are, and they're wearing flip-flops and designer tracksuits. It's madness. Madness. What are we importing in? And I see this week now, the latest is Shabana, the Muslim Home Secretary. She's now gone to, what country was it she's gone to? Denmark, where I've been, actually. And she said, oh, I might use some of their techniques. Well, we just know that what will happen. Denmark's got it right. They've cut it right down. It's a bit like saying we might use some of Trump's techniques. We know with Labour, when it comes to it, because of that woke idiot Starmer, who's absolutely wedded to the ECHR and the rest of it, it'll just be watered down nonsense and it won't make a blind bit of difference. Yes, while we won a war and Labour government, Khan took it away from they young men who never came home. I kind of understand what he said. Oh, excuse me, I'm sneezing. I do apologise. Incompetent politicians have ruined this country. Correct. That's really what I'm getting at. And what they've done is they've betrayed those men and women, it's got to be said, who laid down their life or came back with terrible, terrible injuries. And so now it becomes a bit performative. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I know because I've spoken to some people. A mate of mine, Dougie, goes every year because he's ex-RAF, right? Not that old. We served in the Falklands. But he goes, and it means a lot to him to see his comrades. I understand all that. And in no way what I'm saying today is slagging off anybody who's fought. But what I'm saying is it's all a bit performative, isn't it? And maybe that's what young people are saying, because no one's bought a bloody poppy this year. I've hardly seen anyone wearing them. It's just kind of passed people by. Am I right or am I wrong? And so what I'm kind of saying is, as that generation now pass on, can't we honour them in a better way? Well, we could have done by giving them a better life, by not taking the winter fuel allowance off 10 million of them. Keir Starmer, just moving out of the way so you can see the traitor. Dave Slack, all of them people that died, all the stress, the mental health problems, what a joke. Britain is in a right state, and I'm not sure we'll ever get it back. It's so sad, and the people that have done this just carry on like naught has happened. They have no shame. You're right, Dave. You're absolutely right. They're the ones who've let us down. But you see, then they use immigration, illegal and legal, as a bogeyman. So we're so busy slagging that off that we don't focus on how they've let us all down. Tommy Mason, 7631 on YouTube says, don't forget the ones that are flying in as well. Yeah, but you see, I don't want this to be an attack just on immigrants, because I think immigrants have brought a lot to the country. We've been let down by successive governments. No, you're wrong. There's not been a well-managed migration for over a decade, says Patriot Raise the Flag. Well, I'm not wrong then, am I? Because that's what I'm saying. Well-controlled, managed immigration in the 50s and 60s and the 70s was good. We've had lots of benefits. We were pretty horrid, some of us, to a lot of those people who came in. But no, it's been out of control ever since Tony Blair said, let all the Polish plumbers in. I'd suggest that's when it started. So don't try and pick a fight with me for no reason. It's rather negative and childish. I'll accept your apology. Anybody going to make a donation today, please? No one's done so far. Just click on the $sign and donate whatever you fancy, or go to www.buymeacoffee.com. Remember, this is /Jon Gaunt. Remember, this is an extra show. I'm doing this Sunday afternoon, just because it got my rag watching that this morning. And I like to talk to you and tell you what I think. So if you've got an opinion, I want to hear from it. The best way you can help me as well is by going to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube, and it pops up a little thing saying, do you want to subscribe? Say yes. It's free, and then that just means you get access to all of my archive, and also every time I do a new one, you get notified if you press the bell button on it, okay? But we could do with a bit of cash as well, so help us out. Hi, John, a question that has to be asked is this. What would you be fighting for now? The establishment hates those who gave their lives in the world's conflicts. Niven Casey, 9210, you are correct. You're absolutely correct. There was a survey out recently, and it's something like, it's a massive percentage say they wouldn't fight. Now, when it comes to Starmer and we talk about Ukraine, if I had kids of fighting age, I wouldn't want them to go and fight in that war that he's trying to get going. Have you seen anything today as well about drones and Belgium? It is worrying times. But see, he's doing nothing to unite the country. Because while he's trying to save the planet, it's not, probably might be, have to be, sometime in the future. But it's not number one priority. Food on the table, Kia. That's what people are worried about. Illegal immigration. How can you possibly stand there and not talk to the British public about the fact 2,000 people have got in since Thursday? All your lefty mates were bragging, oh, look, there's been nobody coming across the channel. And when sensible people like me pointed out, that's just because the weather's bad, they didn't like it. Now I noticed they've all gone quiet. They probably ran off to cop whatever you can 30. I also think that line that the old boy said, the veteran said, about they're just in it for what they can get now, leaders. It kind of sums up your government. Lisa Nandy, she's deeply in it now, isn't she? And you got the BBC, we're going to apologise for a mistake. Well, that won't be the end of it. It wasn't a mistake. It was a deliberate attempt to make Donald Trump look like he's a crook. It's just wrong. And I've got other people saying to me, oh, yeah, but what about things Trump said? Irrelevant. It's irrelevant. If he's done something wrong or said something wrong, pick him up on that. But you can't use that to justify that. Did your mum never teach you 2 wrongs don't make a right? We aren't told about King Charles. I met him at Deal Seafront when he visited the castle. It was obvious he had makeup on his hands to cover his declining health. Don't know what to say to that, Jay, but thank you. Shame on the king being there. I thought it was you. I thought it was you, no, and Islam. What are you on about? Try and write in English, and then maybe you can understand what you mean. Some of the Labour government shouldn't have been there. And why was the so-called king there? Says Christine Carty. Because he's the king. Imagine if he wasn't there. Grow up, for God's sake. Get out of your silo for half a minute. Pam Miller, yes, all our men and women that fought for our country in the First and Second World Wars have been totally let down. Our current heroes living on our streets while we, the past and current governments, insist on housing illegal scroungers, housing and giving them everything. And they're totally dangerous to our British people. I understand where you're coming from, Pam. Pam, very angry about that. There should be no veterans on the street. None of them homeless. I just don't understand it. And if we're suddenly finding all these houses, which we have done for the Ukrainians, ex-military places, indeed for now for the flip-flop warriors, why couldn't we find accommodation for our veterans? You know, the ones who've obviously got something wrong mentally, you know, post-traumatic stress or drinking in the streets and screaming at you. And you salve your conscience, don't you, as you come out of Sainsbury's or wherever you've been shopping, and you give them a couple of quid in their paper cup and maybe stroke their dog. But they shouldn't be on the street, should they? They shouldn't. But never mind. We will remember them once a year. That's why I'm saying it's performative nonsense, in a way. I'm not having a go at the vets, by the way. We're a sinking ship and the government are allowing it. Correct. I've gone swampy, John, cooking a veggie Borson pie. Is that cheese? With potato dauphinies tonight with no Yorkies. You need to go to the doctor's, son. Eh? You need to go to the doctor's. I'll tell you what I'm having. What are we having tonight? Oh, minty lamb chops, corn on the cob, broccoli, and a few spuds. Not too many for me. Oh, he's back again, Robin Liverthorpe. He's the worst Prime Minister in history. Tell us something we don't know. Where I live, an armistice parade takes place every 11th of November. It's like that in Nuneaton. It's a lovely service. It would be sad for it to have less meaning with the division that is happening today. We must never forget the heroes who gave us their lives, though. I agree with all of that. What's interesting, Richard, did you see there's been some on the internet today? There've been a lot of police presence outside smaller churches when they've been having parades and services. Is that the kind of Britain that Starmer's created? It's a bit like Jewish people. They have to have police at their synagogues. Why? How's it come to this? Well, it's come to it because we've let people into the country and not made them fit in. Keep your religion, but fit in. We've allowed Muslim Islamist thugs to stop a football game, to say Jews can't go. That's what's happened. We've allowed people to march on the street shouting Allah Akbar, and they're still doing it with Hamas flags. That's where we've gone wrong. I don't know whether we can pull it back. Stuart Lowe, very true, John. Thank you. Bloody hell. Jim Bowen has let himself go. Oh, Colin, you're clever. You're witty. Colin, you're so funny. So funny. Prick. Made my usual popular donation, but it pains me that the RBL employ a diversity officer around 65 grand. Yeah, I saw that. What's the need? Plus benefits, not getting to those who deserve it. I'll tell you what's interesting on that, Niven. I did a piece on it for telly once. Didn't the poppies used to all get made by blind people or deaf people? Somewhere in Hertfordshire. I vaguely remember 23 years, just after I finished doing Bullseye. But I did a feature on it for Look East or something. It's one place where they're made. I don't know. I might be completely wrong. Where are we going next? Christine Carty. Well, let's see when there's a war. I hope everyone in a government job should be sending their sons and daughters, because my sons are not going. And when the government sons and daughters come home, what will happen then? Because I've lost that bit. Because all young men coming in by boats in hotels on UK taxpayer money. Christine, just concentrate a bit more when you're writing it, love, because I can't understand what you're saying. And I've got to read it off. I haven't got time to practice. I hope Trump sues the BBC out of existence, says Cumbrian Mackham. Well, they certainly do need a severe slap, don't they? A real slap. Maggie Young says Matty Grimes, Sky Blue captain, laid a wreath on behalf of Coventry City today at the War Memorial in the park. I didn't know that, Maggie, but that's a good thing that he's done. Whoa. What about yesterday? What about that goal? Hey? Because I thought the game was a bit kind of negative. We kind of both Stoke and Coventry sort of, nullified each other, didn't they? But that goal, incredible. And I love that song they sing about him, don't you? Superb stuff. Anyway, Coventry, just remind me. Oh, yeah, we're top of the league. Oh, just remind me. 5 points above anybody else, which is Stoke or Middlesbrough. Can't remember. Great stuff. I think that managed legal as well as illegal immigration has gone unchecked since the early 60s. Well, it's not the 60s, it's the 70s. But anyway, this is the American, James, yeah. What your country needs is to overhaul its entire immigration administrators, hold them responsible for not doing their job. Of course, they'll blame it on Starmer, so let's get on with it. Your King Charles said a whole lot of nothing other than what all proper Britons are saying. Okay, so what has he done about it? Fair enough, James. But remember, you've had presidents and you've done jack shit as well. It's only Trump who's got in again, who's sorting it out now, and he's done a great job. What did Biden do? What did Barack Obama do? Zero. So don't you come on here just attacking this Brit. Somebody pulling your leg. Jon Gaunt TV. Remember me? I remembered all this. I remembered you. I warned you all about this when you was doing radio for the paper. De Caffa. Did you really? You know what? I don't remember you, but I do apologise. I'm sure you're a big fan. And you've got your 2 seconds of fame there by telling me now. As PM, Starmer isn't worth the... I don't understand this. People get excited, I think. As PM, Starmer isn't worth the shit on any veteran shoe. Okay, if that made you feel better, get it off your chest. Remembrance Day was scrap Gaunty. That's why we have Remembrance Sunday. Bring it back. Yeah, the technical term, you're right, Crypto. But I will tell you something else. There are places like, for example, Atherstone, Nuneaton, and other places that I know still have a proper ceremony on the 11th of the 11th as well. So you're kind of right, but you're kind of wrong. But it's really what I'm getting at is that we've not shown real respect and gratitude for these people. When a 100-year-old blind veteran can speak more truth than the Prime Minister of the day, I think you've got a problem in this country. Well, we've got a problem. Do you not? Because I do. What's this one? Anyone in the streets singing Allah Akbar, God is good, translated. Well, nothing can be done about this. Follow where their money is from to their organisation. It's the Muslims. Not today, not really the conversation I want to have. But thank you for it anyway. Right, I'm finished. Unless there's anybody else want to comment before I go. It was just an extra show to sort of knock a few ideas about. Thank you for joining in. I will be back tomorrow, Monday, at 6:30. Don't forget, there's loads of shows you can get up on the Jon Gaunt TV. If you go to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube, there's the whole archive there. And they're also all in podcast versions as well. So if you want to listen just to the audio, you can do that while you're walking the dog. Don't kick the dog, though. It's not the dog's fault. If I say something that upsets you, it's my fault. Excuse me. And hopefully by tomorrow, my voice will be completely better. It's 100% better than it was. Play Up Sky Blues. Brilliant performance this weekend. Of course, now it's the international break. Have a great evening tonight. If you can find a few quid to donate, please do. Go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, or just go onto YouTube and send me a super sticker. Very simple to do. You'll see it once you get there by just clicking that $sign. I can now go because Maggie Young has just sent me 5 claps. Yes, and a heart, a sky blue heart. Thank you, Maggie. Nice text that you gave earlier. Thank you for that. All right, I'm off. I shall see you all on Monday. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.